Šalia manęs yra Cecile Cremer, kuri yra tendencijų ekspertė bei konceptų kūrėja. Jai labai patinka galvoti apie ateitį ir spėlioti, kurios inovacijos bus esminės. Jos tendencijų ir inovacijų agentūra bendradarbiauja su tokiais pasauliniais prekių ženklais kaip Volkswagen, Deutsche Telekom ar netgi Jungtinių Arabų Emiratų švietimo ministerija. Cecile konferencijoje Login ką tik kalbėjo apie tai, kaip mes gyvensime 2030 metais. Apie tai tuoj su ja ir pasikalbėsime. So, hi Cecile,
hello.
It's great to have you here. First I want to ask, I want to get straight to the point. Imagine we wake up in 2030 now. We wake up, we have a shower, we brush our teeth, and how the world is different around us compared to now.
Well, that's quite a big question because there are a lot of aspects of life that will be different from now. It's actually where my talk was all about, life in 2030, a day in the life of 2030. But I think all aspects will be much more fluent and open to their own interpretation of consumers. If, for example, work, we are now still quite in boxes from 9 to 5, 9 to 6, and there is a little bit of movement, but it's still quite organized. I think the future in 2030 will be more fluent, more flexible, more open. So yeah, there will be quite some changes in 2030, I think, and it will be mainly driven by people, and I think solutions will be partly also found in technology.
Yeah. A great change is coming how we are going to identify ourselves. We already are a little bit, uncertain. Who are we? How should we identify ourselves? By our job, by our nationality, or what? So how is that going to change identity in 2030?
Identity is also becoming more fluent as we can actually make ourselves the way we want to be due to digitalization. If you look at, for example, Instagram, which is a social media that is being used very much these days, we can create our own lives, and therewith we are creating sort of bubbles.
We can fake them.
Yeah, exactly. So identity is going to be a very difficult subject because it is actually our task to find out what is real and what is fake. I do think, for example, work is going to be of big influence on our identity because I don't believe we keep on working for money and possessions, but more to show who we are, what we think is important. Work is going to be one of those things that form our identity because we want to add value, we want to create a heritage that we leave on this world. So I think work is a good example of how you can show what is important to you.
Yeah. So possibly you will say, I am Cecile Cremer and I do this when you present yourself. And the first thing you tell about yourself is your work, the thing that you do. Is that right?
No, I don't think so, because that is what we do now. I'm Cecile and I'm a trend researcher.
Yeah. And in the future?
And in the future, I think it's going to be, for example, I'm Cecile and I care a lot about my neighbors. For example, it's more like the intrinsic happiness. So what really makes you happy, what is really important from you, which drives you to live your life as you do. So it's not important what you do, it's important who you are and what is important, what are the aspects of life that's important to you.
You mentioned Instagram, and we all have this influencers thing, micro-influence, micro-influence, and all this buzz is getting a little bit annoying, I guess. When do you think it's going to fade away, or maybe what new trend is going to come after this influencers trend? I believe people are really getting bored of it already now.
Yeah, I think so too, but you also see already like the decrease in followers and the decrease in people that get so big to become an influencer. I think it's also, I think it has to start with the big brands because I mean they are actually keeping those influencers alive, because if they don't get paid for it, I think the moment influencers only get likes and no money anymore, I'm very curious how long they will keep on influencing, if you know what I mean.
So that's up to big companies, big brands.
I think they have a big impact on how the cycle of influencers is going. I hope to see, and I believe so, that in the future it will be more about the message you bring, the things you do. And not so much what you show, but really those with an outstanding opinion which dare to say something totally different from the big mass.
And talking about trends, I wonder, since you're an expert, how do you think about trends? How do you see if it's going to be a trend or it's going to fade away fast? For example, electric scooters. I guess they are a trend right now all around the world. In Vilnius is the same. This summer everyone is going with electric scooters. How do you think about it? Like, what are the criteria for it? If it's going to be the next summer is going to be the same, or something is going to change?
Okay, now I'm going to be very mean, because an electric scooter is not a trend. Okay. It's a product of a trend. So if this is a little lesson in trends,
yeah, sure.
But you have the mega trends. Those are the societal trends. So, for example, digitalization, technologization. They are trends or movements that are going over about 50 years. Then you have consumer trends, so you can compare that with the needs and the wants or the emotions on consumer level, so human level. What do we want in the future, but also what do we want that we don't even know that we want? Those trends are, for example, the maker movement. That is a good example for a consumer trend, but also my heritage, so that we want to add value to whatever we do. So you can say they are about 15 to 30 years. And then you have market trends. That is like the short-term trends where new market segments or market groups appear. So for example, 3D printing, not the printer, but the printing is a market trend. So it's like a, you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, sure.
That is for about 1 to 2 and sometimes 5 years. And underneath all those levels, you have the trend manifestations, and those are the products, services, strategies that come out of the trend. So the trend is actually a value shift, a direction of change. I think the electric scooter is an example of the way it's actually future of mobility. It's the way that we want to, it's driven by the way that we want to be free in the way we move around, but also focus on sustainability. So it's a combination of different consumer trends, but also mega trends that form that electric scooter to be so popular.
So a trend is something much more bigger than I imagine.
Yeah.
The electric scooter is just a result.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you guess what other results of the trends are going to be around this mobility thing? Like we have electric scooters. What's going to be next?
I think we're going to be seeing more in the personal drone area, because you have the first personal drones. They flew in Dubai already. What I said in my talk as well, we are looking into alternative use of space, and we use the air, of course, with the big planes, but I think there's a lot of space between the airplane zone and the ground, which we do not use yet.
Thank you, Cecile. Thank you for our short roundup. All the viewers who missed, it's their fault, but maybe they can catch up with the interviews online with you. Sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And for the viewers, tai buvo Cecile Cremer, tendencijų ekspertė, apie transporto tendencijas. Tikrai dar pakalbėsime kitame interviu, tad iki kito karto.